this is newspaper headlines analysis. And I'm not alone in the studio. Soon enough, I'm going to introduce my guest this morning, my public affairs analyst and person of Oluseun Oluwole.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, please stay with me. Let me run through the headlines. Let's start from the Punch newspaper. I have this one that says 2027 opposition splits over NAS poll shift plan. And that headline asks this rider. NAS bill seeks to move presidential governorship polls to November 2026. PDP and NPP alleged a new extension plot. ADC LP differ. Another headline is saying as a strike grounds varsities, federal government clamps down. A retired AIG leads probe into killings by Osun Amotekun. Another headline is saying slain husband's family slams Tinubu's pardon for Miriam Sanda. Lagos rearranges kidnapped kingpins, Evans over 2 call murders. Fubara swears in SSD, cautions against power abuse. Let's cross over to Nigerian Tribune this morning. I have a headline that says federal government threatens no work, no pay as ASU declares 2-week strike. Don't forget that the strike started yesterday. And of course, I read the reports where the federal government has directed all the vice-chancellors of the federal universities across the country to enforce the policy of no work, no pay. I watched an interview yesterday evening where the president of ASU in Peuna, where he said that the federal government cannot threaten us and we're not going to succumb to that. So regardless of what the federal government is saying in terms of no work, no pay, the strike continues. Away from that headline, I also have this one that says presidency confirms Edun's Ead. CBN governor leads Nigeria's delegation to World Bank IMF meeting. Don't forget, there were a lot of controversies surrounding the Minister of Finance to say, okay, the president is trying to replace him. But then I read a story this morning where the special advisor to the president, Sunday Diary, said he spoke to Mr. Edu on phone, and then he can assure Nigerians that he's getting better and will soon come back to his duties. Away from that, I also have this headline that says Nigerians search for alternatives over scarcity of cooking gas. Let's cross over to Salient Times. I have this headline that says Tinubu mourns Reverend Maupai, hails late PFN founder as one of God's general. Honestly, I think the family released a statement yesterday to say that the general has gone to be with the Lord. He died October 6th. That was last week. This evangelist, has helped to raise money, for the kingdom. Away from that headline, I also have this one that says Imba Enugu cabinet members join APC as Sunday Udeokoye resigns from the PDP. What is going on with the PDP? It appears that the PDP is set to lose more governors to the APC. What's the fate of the political party come 2027? I'll have my analyst speaking that very shortly. I also have this headline that says Lagos residents grown as cooking gas price soars to 3,000 naira per kg. The final headline for this morning, I have this one that says National Assembly proposes November 2026 presidential governorship elections, a new electoral act amendments. Allow me start with that particular headline. Welcome on board this morning.
Good morning.
All right, let's start from, you're welcome. Let's start from this headline that says the National Assembly is proposed in November 2026 for presidential and governorship election. Is that a good development, looking at what it takes to prepare for an election, really?
Actually, over time, we've seen changes in the dates of elections. So if at this time around, they are now planning or proposing to now shift it to November, to me, that's not a very good development concerning the date itself, because when you take a look at the dates, we are getting closer to the Yuletide season. That's exactly around the Yuletide season, the Yuletide corner. So going to November 2026 for an election of that magnitude, of that sort, should have been maybe in the middle of the year or the first quarter of the year, or the second quarter, but not pushing it to like November, whereby we have the Christmas coming in and everything, whereby everything will be heated up, and we are going towards the holidays, and there will be much festivities and work overload, and people are trying to go on holidays, trying to put work aside. So putting it, I don't think that's a very good development concerning the electoral act, whatever it is they're trying to do with the Electoral Act. But maybe they will still consider. It's just not it's something they have just proposed. It's not that they have actually said, okay, this is what we are going to do. That's just it's a proposed idea, which I think can still be amended. And we can still be, when they look at it, say them to look at it, it's not a very good idea having our elections of that magnitude, the governorship and the presidential election around November, going towards December, end of the year. No, to me, I don't see that as feasible. So I think they will have a rethink to now shift maybe to early 2027. That would have been better.
Why are we even in a hurry? Because a lot of persons might not contest the governorship elections because it varies state to state.
It varies state to state, yes, it varies.
Presidential election.
So being in an election, being in a, well, let's say, of course, we are much in a hurry to quickly see how things will turn out in 2027. And already we can see the ground gathering. The ground, everything gathering, the dust is gathering around 2027. And this is 2025 going out, buying out already. Now, next year is 2026. So if we say that we want every gladiator in every corner to come out, to pitch their tent, wherever we've been say crossing overs, cross carpeting and everything. So I think we are too much in a hurry to quickly want to find out what will happen in 2027. We quickly want to determine what will happen because we now see that a lot of things are not happening. Everybody quickly wants to pitch their tent somewhere they want to belong to. So it's a game of actually, I think what we are trying to do, or what the politicians are trying to do, is to quickly put things to rest concerning the election. That's why we are now saying, let's quickly have it in 2026. Because we can still have it in 2027, and there can still be handovers made in 2027.
Will it change anything, the year?
So,
do you think it will change anything, really?
If we wait out through 2026, it might. It might change a lot. 12 months is enough to change a lot. So, but now we are not trying to wait. It's like we want to quickly read the handwriting on the wall.
It's just like someone who just wrote jam and cannot wait.
Wait for the...
Just to check.
Yeah, just to check the result. So we just want to jump into, okay, this is actually what we are... It's like we want to preempt the future itself. We want to quickly jump into events. So that's what I think is happening now to all the politicians, especially some parties where we have a lot of breakdown of this and that, where they are moving from one place to the other. If you are moving from one place to the other, you quickly want to cement your ground there. You want to cement it. So cementing your ground is trying to look into the future of what we might stand be at that particular place. And that can be done, quickly done, if we, even the National Assembly, think if we can quickly do this, then the future will be cemented for every player that has shifted from one place to another. So they can easily say, okay, now we now finally have 2027 in our pockets. And I don't, to me, they are trying to play God there.
Okay, speaking of the factions, let me link it to an headline that I have here, speaking about, Peter Mba, on his way to the APC. So some Nigerians are saying it's like the APC is trying to win over the governors, to decide because of the 2027 general elections. And of course, most of the supporters of this governor are saying, okay, he's a good one, so that the state can align with the center in court. This was the same thing that was said when Governor Imo left the PDP to the APC. There were claims to say, okay, I want to align with the center. So will those not weaken the strength of opposition parties? And look at what is happening to the PDP. How many governors are left in the PDP? So in a bid to align with the center, that's the defense of most of these governors that are leaving. Is it not affecting our opposition in Nigeria, the opposition parties?
The Nigerian politics, or the politics we play in Nigeria, we tend to think if we are not aligned with the center, and what's the center? That is the presidency, the federal government. Now, the major party is APC and is in power. Well, we now think, most governors think, if I'm not aligned with the presidency, my dues might not come to me as a state, as a governor. I might not fully get what should be attributed to me, to my state. So telling the people, telling the state people, I mean the public, that me crossing over from the party that brought me in as your governor to this place is because of you people. I want to align. That is pure lies from the pit of hell, I would say. Because there are allocations that are being allocated to states monthly.
Which has been increased.
Which has been, yes. So why would I say that, okay, do I want to increase, do I want more increment?
Or joining APC without
increase it?
Your initial
so me want to align with does that mean my state shouldn't move to, I mean, shouldn't move on, shouldn't develop under, what should we call it, under the coalition or under whatever it is we can call it, under the opposite party? Being aligned with the center, that doesn't make sense to me. When you're saying that, okay, because of the presidency, that's why I'm now cross-carpeting to this party. What about the party that brought you in? Whether they have crisis, whether they don't. Remember, that doesn't mean the interest of your party or the interest of your state will be undermined by the federal government. No, it has never been. No state has ever been undermined. The interests of any state have never been undermined because they belong to the opposition. It has never been. But you're now saying you want to align with them. What will need to do? Will there be anything extra to add to the state when you are now aligning with the federal government? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't improve. It doesn't increase whatever it is that you want to say about the state. And it doesn't decrease it or diminishes it, however, in any way too. So aligning with, giving excuses of alignation with the federal government is just a lame excuse.
Okay, what about his claim that, I think Oshiomhole made a statement to say, when you move to the APC, your sins are forgiven.
Your sins are forgotten.
Is that a window apart from revenue?
Okay, let us put it this way. Maybe there are some sins that have been committed by these governors. Okay. And they want that to be expunged. Okay. But have the federal government actually come out to say, okay, you've committed any sin, and you need to join us if you want us to expunge all your actions, all your past actions, or whatever that you've done? None has ever been alleged. So now, even the idea of your sins, that is just pure, that is even more criminal than anything. That when you join us, your sins will be forgiven. Does that now mean that whatever it is you do, you can get away with it if you join us? So we can now do whatever it is that we can do and get away with it because of this party. That statement should be looked into. Sir, what do you mean? Does that mean you too, if we put the searchlight on you, we'll definitely find some cans, some worms in your cans, and you don't want us to take a look at, that's why you are not at this party? But I've never seen all these talks about governors joining APC. I think the mere fact is that this party is going down. And that is due to the interest and the mindset of the people at the party or in the party. Number one, the interest of the party has been thrown out. And everybody now think, I can actually do what I want.
The leadership crisis.
The leadership crisis and everything. So the APC is now cashing in on this. That, okay, we can gain more ground, gain more power for us to be in power, to remain in power beyond 2027. This, if you remember, this has been a party that has been in power for the past 16 years. So what could have gone wrong? That has broken them to pieces. If APC is not careful, taking in everybody, hook, line, and sinker, at the end of the day, it will still undermine their own activities too later in the years. The same thing will happen because, as we see it, it is garbage in, garbage out. The mindset of the people are not changing. It is still the same thing. It's just like you putting off your agbada and wearing a jacket Does that change the inner you? The mindset of the politicians, does that change it? What happened to them, what they did at PDP, they will still come back and do at APC. It's just mere thinking. It's just wishful thinking that, oh, we can get, of course they will gain man grounds to remain in power, for the presidency to remain in power. But these people will still come up with the same idea, with the same things, with the same actions that put them out of power under the PDP. They will still come and repeat it. It is a process. It will come back. Okay. It is ripples. It will come back. So the same thing will still happen. Whether the APC is gaining ground or not, I still think the same thing happening. Yes. Because it's like you already know that these people, they are not your friends. They are in the opposition. What makes you think they won't come in and dismember your party?
I think it's a question for the leadership of the APC to answer now that they have a new national chairman. Let's talk about ASU. The situation between ASU and federal government, to me, is looking like a dissertation topic that you have and you cannot find materials to write your chapter 1 and 2. Because the federal government is saying something different, ASU is saying something different. Let's walk through it. ASU is saying, or let me start with the federal government. Federal government is saying we've been able to cater, to the needs of ASU, their requirement. ASU is saying, okay, the 2009 agreement, the federal government has not said anything about that. And it doesn't matter whether the federal government wants to enforce the policy of no work, no pay. The strike will continue. The federal government is also saying that ASU is not considering the lives of the students. And ASU is saying, okay, we also have families to cater for. We have children in schools as well, and we need to pay their tuition fee. What do you make of all this matter? Because at the end of the day, the federal government has directed the vice chancellors to say, no work, no pay. And ASU is saying, we are not going to work. And they're also saying, okay, we have NAMDA with us. We have Conwa with us. It doesn't matter how the federal government wants to play this game. It will not work.
Now, one thing I want to, this morning I was thinking about that, musing about that. And over the week I've been thinking, ever since 1995, all these things coming up about NASU, all these issues coming between the federal government and ASU and everything, is it that ASU can't make a clear demand, or have they not made a clear demand that can be settled at once by the federal government? That every time we tend to come up, they tend to come up with strikes, strikes, and strikes. Now, all these agreements that the federal government too has been coming up with, why can't they just fulfill it once and for all and put this thing to rest? Now, the idea of ASU coming out every year or every 2 years to say, okay, we are going on strike because of another agreement that has not been put in place. Why can't we just sit there once and for all and forget it? It can be done. I don't see strikes coming up in various crimes or all the other crimes like we do, like we have here in our academics. Now, if we sit down together again, if they sit down again, ASU and the federal government, the coming year, the next year, they will still have another issue. Is it that every year we must have issues? Can't we come out with clear negotiations concerning what we need, what ASU need, and what the federal government will provide? Now, federal government is saying, let's consider these students. It's not only the ASU, it's not only the association that we consider these students. The federal government too should consider these students. It is not a one-sided show. It's a two-sided thing. We have the federal government on the other side, and the ASU on one side. These people too say they have their own families to cater for and their children. Of course, they are right. There are some things that should be put right. Now, if you take the general or the normal topic that will come up is the pay of any political office holder is more than that of our lecturers. The people that even train our people to be in such places. What is their take-home pay? What is the, what is the package that we give to them? that should make their own life even more better? What are the things that have been put in place in various institutions that will ease whatever it is they are doing concerning their jobs and the delivery of whatever it is they are going to give out to the students? If, as we're saying, we demand more in the area of infrastructure, in the area of funding and financing and everything, of course the federal government should look into it and they should provide. Now, because it's not only, if ASU is now saying we need better working conditions for the sake of the students, of the future of all these people, I think that is the germane idea, the germane topic that should be looked into by the federal government. So it's not the idea of only the ASU, where they should consider the lives of, or the
academic calendar.
The academic calendar of the students. What about the federal government themselves? What have they put in place to ease the situation, to calm the situation? Now, as we're saying, we don't even care whether you give us pay for those 2 weeks or whether we must go on, we must be on a marching order. We've given out a marching order that we are going on strike. So nobody is coming back. We are not pulling out. Now, federal government is saying, for those 2 weeks, if you don't, of course, when you have not been paying us, what has happened?
I'm even surprised that the federal government is saying the vice chancellors should enforce no work, no pay.
The vice chancellor is not part of ASU. Are they not part of ASU?
So it's conflicting.
So I don't know what the federal government is. At times when federal government talks, I tend to imagine from at which level or at which point the spokesperson is coming from. Because at times it will sound childish and it will sound funny to hear or listen to an adult talk like a child. These people are demanding for a particular set of things. What are you doing about it? Now you are saying, don't they have the fundamental right to go on strike? Of course they do. Now you are saying, if you go on that strike, we are not giving you money and everything. Why don't you just call them out first and say, okay, let us sit down and see what we can do about it, so that you won't even go on that strike? That should be the idea. Not that if you go on strike, we won't give you money for the next 2 weeks. And those ones will say, oh, yes, we are. Of course, for the past how many months that you have not been paying us, what has happened? Have we that? We are not dead yet. So we're now going on strike. Doesn't mean that we are not going to, everybody is going to die. So listen to them first. In the first place, listen to them before you threaten everything and the vice chancellors. Are they not part of them?
It's a huge issue, but then listening to the president of ASU yesterday, Professor Chris Puna, he mentioned that some persons have called in and want to believe that they'll make plans to have a meeting and it can be sorted at the end of the day.
I do believe that will happen.
Okay.
I do believe that will happen because anytime ASU comes up with plans to go on strike, the federal government will quickly do something about it. And I expect the presidency and the other team to come together to really fix this thing. This is a shame. It's a big shame for our city out there to always be closing down at every point in time.
I think one of the reasons that is causing that might be because the federal government, has been producing short-term solutions rather than long-term.
Long-term solutions.
Yeah.
That is it. But ASU themselves, they make the they make the requirements for what needs to be done. Which one is long-term? Which one is short-term? These are your demands. You are making the demands. Okay. And when federal government is coming out to attend to all your demands, to look into it, why can't you yourself prefer a longer and lasting solution to the demands that you are making, rather than making it in the short term? And when that time is off, you go back on another strike.
It's a serious issue. Let's just hope that
both of them need to sit down and take a look at it
and find a solution to this problem. All right, thank you for being a part of the segment this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Oluwole, a public affairs analyst and a commentator on national issues. My name is Oluwayemi Adelagun. Thank you for staying with us.